Things in the Box. Welcome back, guys. Tonight's story is about a mother who loses her son and decides he's still growing inside a wooden box under her bed. There are no ghosts in this one, just grief. This is based on a true story. The house was quiet. It sat in a clean, middle-class suburb. 2 stories, fresh paint, a neat lawn that the HOA never complained about. Inside, everything was in its place. Framed photos, matching towels, a nursery that stayed closed. Upstairs in the master bedroom, under the bed on Monica's side, there was a walnut box with brass hinges and a velvet lining. That was where she kept her son. His name had been Noah Hill. He died at 4 months old. A fever. One bad night that split their life in half. The crib was gone now. The swing, the mobile, the baby bottles. But the box stayed. Inside it, she kept a tiny blue hat, a soft baby blanket that had once covered him from chest to feet, 2 newborn socks, his hospital bracelet, a printed photo of him sleeping on her chest. Every night, she pulled the box out, set it on the rug, and opened it. She laid each item on the bed, one by one, and touched them like they were still warm. Her husband, Julian, watched from the doorway sometimes. He thought, at first, that she needed time. He did not understand how much time she planned to give herself. It started with a number. One night, she spread the blanket on the bed and frowned. It reached farther than she remembered. In her memory, it used to sit small in the center of the mattress. Now it touched the edge of her pillow. She went to her desk and took a tape measure. 54, she said quietly. She wrote it in a notebook. The next night, 56. The next, 58. Fabric isn't supposed to grow once the child inside it is gone. She knew that. She'd always been a practical person, the kind who read manuals before turning something on. But the numbers were simple, clear, going up. When she told him, Julian tried to keep his voice steady. "You were guessing before," he said. "Now you're measuring. It just feels different." "I wrote it down the first time," she said. "I didn't guess." He glanced at the notebook. Date. Measurement. A neat little line graph starting to form. He didn't argue. He went to sleep. In the dark, he heard the metal tape snapping back into its case, again and again. Soon she measured everything. The tiny hat that had once filled her palm now sat larger and looser. The socks, which used to cover 2 of her fingers, now looked like they could grip the heel of a baby learning to stand. Hat, 10 centimeters, 11, 12. Socks, 5 centimeters, 6, 7. She printed photos, week by week, items laid out next to a ruler. She taped them inside her closet door. When friends texted, she ignored them. When her sister called, she let it ring. She went to work, came home, and sat on the floor with the box. "You can't build your life around that thing," Julian said one evening. She didn't look up. "I'm not building my life around a box," she said. "I'm tracking my son." One Saturday, he opened the hall closet to get the vacuum and saw a bag from a children's store on the top shelf. Inside was a baby blanket. Same brand, same color, larger size. There were socks, too. Same style, 2 sizes up. The tags were still attached. Receipts lay crumpled in the bottom of the bag. Same day, same store, Monica's card. His chest went tight. Later that night, he checked her bank app while she showered. There were small charges at kids' stores. Not one big splurge. Just a slow, steady line of purchases over weeks. He closed the app and put her phone back where he found it. When she came to bed, she kissed his cheek and said, he'd be almost 1 now. He'd be crawling. He'd need thicker socks. He did not say what he knew. The next time she opened the box, there were new items. A t-shirt, soft gray, size 2T. A pair of socks that would fit a toddler. The blanket now looked like it would cover a small child's body. Monica measured everything, wrote down the numbers, and smiled through tears. He's getting big, she whispered. Julian watched her from the bed. Where did the shirt come from? He asked. She blinked, like she hadn't thought about it. I bought it, she said after a moment. But I had to. He can't stay dressed like a newborn forever. Monica. I know he's gone, she said sharply. I'm not crazy. She gripped the edge of the box. I remember the hospital, she said. I remember the funeral. I remember the nurses crying. I remember signing things. I know what happened, Her voice broke. I can't stand that it stopped there. 4 months. That's all he gets? 4 months and some tiny clothes in a box? She wiped her face with the heel of her hand, hard, like she was mad at herself for crying. When the things get bigger, she said, it hurts a little less to think about him. Just a little. If I know what size he'd be now, it feels like he's still moving forward. Julian had no answer for that. They tried therapy once more. The therapist listened, asked slow questions, spoke about complicated grief, spoke about ways to honor a child without freezing your life in place. You're not frozen, Monica said. You still go to work. You still sleep. You still eat. You have hobbies. Why is it different if I buy a bigger blanket? The therapist said it was about intent, about what she thought was true. Do you believe your son is alive? She asked. Monica stared at the floor for a long time. I believe he should be, she said. And I'm tired of everything else. Julian drove them home in silence. That night, she measured the blanket again, wrote a new number, closed the notebook without telling him what it was. More things appeared over time. A small jacket, a pair of sneakers, size 10 kids, still clean in the box, a backpack with a dinosaur on it. Nothing impossible. No strange letters. No phantom sounds at night. Just more objects that matched the age he would have been that year. Every one of them could be traced back to a receipt if you looked hard enough. Julian did. He found online orders in her email, store promos, delivery notices. He knew where they came from. It didn't help. What scared him was not the things. It was how naturally she lived around them. Don't trip over his shoes, she said one day as he stepped into the hallway. There was nothing there. 2 days later, actual shoes sat exactly where she had warned him. He'd be starting 1st grade, she said another morning while packing her bag for work. I should be arguing with him about what shirt he's wearing, not talking to an empty room. She set an extra bowl on the counter without noticing. He watched her fill it with cereal and then dump it back in the box when she realized what she'd done. She laughed once, too loud. He's picky, she said. Doesn't like that kind. The decision point came a year later. Julian came home early. The sun was still up. The house was quiet, except for a low murmur from upstairs. He climbed the steps slowly. Monica was in the bedroom, sitting cross-legged on the rug. The box was open. Clothes were spread out on the bed by size. Baby, toddler, little kid bigger. She was folding a new shirt. It was a school polo in a color he didn't recognize. Her voice was soft. "You're going to do great," she said to the open box. "First day is scary, but you're brave. Mommy's proud of you." She kissed her fingers and touched the rim of the box like she was tapping a forehead. Julian stood in the doorway. "Monica." She didn't look up. "I toured a school today," she said, "just to see. The principal talked about class size, safety, all that. It felt right." He stepped closer. "He's not going to school," he said quietly. She finally looked at him. For a second, he thought she might cry, might break, might let him pull her back. Instead, she nodded slowly, like she was agreeing to something only she heard. "You're right," she said. "You're not ready." He stared. "I can't live in this with you," he said. The words felt heavy in his mouth. "I can't pretend he's still here. I can't set a place at the table and talk about homework and grades for a child who's not." She kept her eyes on his, but there was a distance in them now. "Then don't," she said. "You don't have to. This is my house too. This is my box. This is my son. I'm going to do what I need to do." He opened his mouth, closed it, looked at the spread of clothes on the bed. The careful order, the sizes stepping up in a line only she could see as a person, not fabric. "Come with me," he said finally. "We can sell the house, move, start over. Somewhere without that box, without that room. Just us." Monica looked down into the box. "If I go," she said, "who's going to raise him?" There was no anger in her voice, no heat, just simple, tired certainty. Julian felt something inside him drop. He understood then that she was not confused. She was choosing, not between truth and lies, between two different kinds of pain. One where her son was dead and stayed 4 months old forever. One where he kept growing somewhere she could still reach him. She had picked the one she could survive. He packed a bag that night. She did not stop him. She did not ask where he was going. She just sat on the floor with the lid of the box resting against her knees, as if she were waiting for a small hand to push it open from the inside. The man telling you this will not say that there is anything inside that wood except cloth and paper and plastic. The horror here is simpler. It is a mother who cannot live in a world where her child's life is a closed file. And a father who finally understands that leaving her means leaving his son behind twice.
Thank you for listening to The Storyteller's Moon. If this story touched you, scared you, or kept you on the edge of your seat, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Your support keeps the stories alive, and I can't wait to share the next one with you under the moonlight. Until then, may your nights be safe and your dreams unforgettable.